Hi guys, it's Kimbu here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the 7 worst types of players to play with in Team Fortress 2. I've been wanting to do something like this for other games in the past, but I've never really known exactly how to do it. Thankfully, I have kind of cracked the code, and I'm happy to bring you this video. As per usual, if you want to share some experiences that you've had with awful TF2 players, then be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you do not agree with one of the types, then feel free to leave some constructive criticism in the comments, and I will do my best to improve for next time. Anyways, enough talking, let us jump straight into the video with the first type of player. Now this one is probably the most common out of all of them, and it is the hater. I'm not talking about, someone who just plays a game, he's just enjoying himself and then something happens, the hit detection is awful, or he lags out, or, so, I don't know, something happens, he types in chat like, Gabe, what are you doing, Volvo, please fix. No, I'm not talking about that, everyone does that, I do that from time to time. When I get annoyed, something unfair happens, I'm just like, yeah, I might as well put it in chat. I'm talking about the guy who literally sits in chat the whole game, doesn't even play, and just hates on absolutely everything. It could be anything. It could be the guns, the hit detection, the actual game itself, the people playing it. He hates on absolutely everything. And the fact that he doesn't even play the game, the fact that he's barely even moves, he's literally always at the bottom of the leaderboard with no experience. He's probably the worst player on the team, and he just hates on anything. As soon as he gets killed, or as soon as something goes wrong, he'll just hate for absolutely ages, insulting everyone, and generally no one really likes them. As I said, everyone's had their fair bit of hate now and then, but this guy, he takes it to a whole new level. So the next player which I want to talk about is the lone wolf guy. Now before I start hating on this playstyle, I must stress that this type of gameplay can actually work really well if it is done right. But the trouble is, it's rarely ever done right. Most of the time, it's a overconfident, egocentric guy who, thinks he's absolutely amazing at the game, so he doesn't need any teammates or help. He just goes off trying to get as many kills as possible. You'll often find that the class uses Scout or Pyro, which I suppose could be argued that their class isn't a team-based class, but even still, you could at least play the objective. It's like when I'm playing a bit of the old payload and, everyone's pushing a cart, but one Scout who goes as far up as possible in an attempt to get dozens of kills, and quite often the result is just embarrassing, and he keeps dying over and over again. But the trouble is, I wouldn't find this annoying if after 2 or 3 deaths he just gave up and went to a different class, but no, he has to keep trying each time until eventually it's just depressing and actually quite funny. You need to know when to quit, mate. But ultimately, it's just frustrating when you have one of these guys, and almost always means that your team will lose the match. As I said though, if the player does happen to be super skilled and manages to absolutely lock down their spawn, then that's great, go for it, absolutely brilliant. But honestly, how many times have you seen that happen? Exactly. It's about as rare as a fucking golden frying pan. Another really big annoyance for me in this game is the classic stereotypical free-to-play noob. Now before you start getting pissy and I'm thinking, I'm one of those snobby elitists who are absolutely disgusted by the mere existence of these players, I'm not, alright? It's honestly got nothing to do with the fact that they're a free-to-play player. As a really skilled player could not have the premium DLC and still be absolutely amazing. Instead, the reason why I'm not a fan of this type of person is purely down to how they behave and how they play. Quite often they have absolutely no clue what is happening, and they just aimlessly walk around the map shooting at, whatever moves. Sometimes they even just jump off the map for no reason and repeatedly kill themselves over and over again. I even saw this one geezer who built a fucking sentry nest outside our spawn. Literally outside the spawn, not down the corridor or near an objective, but 3 inches from the gate. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, you could argue this could be anyone, but you rarely see a pimped out NG building the dispenser next to a massive fucking health pack, do you? I know they're new, they don't know how to play, everyone was there once, yeah, I get it. But with the immense amount of resources available to you, tutorials, videos, demos, you wouldn't think to try them out first? Anyways, to sum it up, everyone hates noobs, and they just seem to be more relevant in Team Fortress 2 than any other first-person shooter I've played. So the fourth guy on this list, let's call him Gary is one of the most common people you will ever find in any multiplayer game. Gary is what I like to call a mic DJ, meaning he loves to play music down his microphone during games. This, of course, is not just limited to TF2, and in fact it's probably more common in COD, but let's just go with it anyway. So these mic DJs always insist on blaring out some shitty gangster songs or super loud dubstep out of their phone, which always sounds laggy and, shit quality, and just to be honest with you, it sounds fucking terrible. Now, I like a bit of music when I play, not gonna lie, but if I wanted to have some tunes on in the background, I would use Spotify or the Windows Music Player, not some guy's laggy ass mic. I don't know if they do it purposely to try and seem hard, do it to bait people out, or maybe they just have really shitty hearing. I have no clue. Most of the time they don't even talk or make comments, they literally just have their mic on for the sake of playing music. Some of them even go out of their way to ensure you listen to them by turning on fucking audio boost and deep throat in their mic, so there's no way of escaping. Yeah, I know you can mute them or just take off your headset, but even that takes time to do when really all you want to do is play. Regardless of their intentions though, Gary is a complete annoyance and is definitely one of the most hated players in TF2 and any other first-person shooter on the market. So the next person which I want to talk about is the infamous Script Kitty, or in other words, the hacker. But I absolutely hate calling them that, as they don't even deserve that title. Because a hacker is someone who gets into the FBI's network, or, downloads thousands of top secret files from Area 51 about extraterrestrial life. Not some greasy European teenager who downloaded a file off Google and went through a setup. So we've all seen this type of person, whether it be CSGO, COD, or TF2, but in terms of Team Fortress, they are usually a sniper, have absolute pinpoint headshot accuracy, that can predict when a person is behind them or around the corner with no evidence at all, and most famously can headshot a fully cloaked spy. This type of player is easily the most hated guy in the whole of Team Fortress 2. Just because of how stupid and selfish they are. Now, I'm all for a bit of modding and a private match, with a few friends, as long as it's kept clean. But when someone manipulates the game's files so they can have an unfair advantage over someone else, that is when it really does get disgusting. There is honestly nothing I can say about this guy that you wouldn't already know. They're cheats, Larry as shit, and think they're super cool because they hacked a game. If you get into a game with one of these players, just vote to kick them instantly. This is usually successful, but if they don't vote yes, call him out. Say he is a script key, say he is a hacker, and I can guarantee he will deny it. The absolute scum of the TF2 community, which deserve nothing more than a good old VAC ban. The second last player which I want to talk about is the classic rich kid. Now, the rich kid doesn't always have to be a kid, but they usually are, as they spend all of their parents' earnings on skins, crates, and other cosmetic items. So I suppose this is somewhat of a variant of the free-to-play noob, but on the complete opposite side. So if you have absolutely no clue what the rich kid is like, then let me explain. He or she is quite often under the age of 15, say, and constantly brags about all of the sweaty items they have. They include, but are not limited to, any Australian weapon, conga and Russian dance taunts, strange or unusual weapons, and any hat that is above the price of, say, £5. Of course, there's going to be people in this game who spend a bit of dough, I get that. But the rich kid takes it too far and has had every single item in the game that has ever been released. Instead of really playing the game, he goes around typing in chat about how all free-to-play players should get cancer, and if any resistance is met, he will call them peasants and scrubs. I myself actually encountered one of these players in an MVM game, so let me give you a short story about my experience with one. He was basically in chat saying that the whole team was shit, so naturally I spoke up. I told him that he wasn't that much better himself and how he should focus more on his game rather than everyone else's. Of course, he didn't take that comment too nicely and proceeded to brag about his gear. He called me a filthy free-to-play player, although I have spent money on the game, and told me to stop playing TF2 as I was apparently not good enough. Anyways, long story short, I told him to stop spending his mother's cash on pointless items, to which he called me a kid, and it just kept on going and going and escalating and escalating. So the moral of the story is, don't be this guy. Simple as. And finally, the last type of player which I want to talk about is the lone medic. Now what I mean by this is when a player who has decided to play medic doesn't really play medic at all and just kind of goes around the map on his own, spraying his syringe gun around and generally just ignoring everyone's calls for aid. So if you play TF2, you'll know that a medic is a vital asset to a winning team. A medic and heavy combo is almost indestructible and if done right can demolish a team within seconds. So naturally when you see a medic on your team, you get that sense of relief and hope that it's going to be a good game. You have someone constantly aiding you so you can focus on more pressing matters like pushing a car or capturing a point. However, the lone medic does not do this and instead does everything in his power to be as useless and helpless as possible. A lone medic will never heal anyone, even if they are right in front of him, and will completely ignore any request for help. If you're lucky enough to see a lone medic heal someone, then chances are it's most likely something absolutely pointless like a spy or a sniper. I suppose you could relate this to the free-to-play noob, as quite often these medics are played by people who have no clue about the game and how to properly play each class. Because of this, I'll give them a bit of slack, but if you're a new player, why would you play medic? Surely you play pyro or sniper or soldier or something, anything but medic. Anyways, to sum it up, the lone medic is a close relative of the free-to-play noob and is quite often the reason why a team will lose a match. If you are watching this video and do exactly this, then please rethink your strategy, learn how to play effectively or pick another class. Thank you in advance. So those are my 7 worst players to be in a game with in TF2. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you did enjoy the video, then please feel free to drop it a like and maybe even subscribe to this channel if you're feeling extra nice. Also, if you guys would like to see another video like this in the future, then please let me know in the comment section below. I thank you once more for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. This is Skimbo signing out.